Yo, what up? Thank y'all for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Saying what up? Today we talking about ADOS and our relationship to the electoral process via the Electoral College and what people are saying about getting rid of the Electoral College and what it should mean to ADOS. We're also going to be talking about HR 40, a topic I've been wanting to get into for a little bit. Just wanted to see what kind of steam it was going to get amongst certain circles, and I already have my thoughts about it. So what I'm going to put in the thumbnail for this video is I'm going to put this tweet that I put up about HR 40. So I'll make a mental note to do that for y'all to just kind of see the discourse we've been having about that on the tweet out. But let's go ahead and get started with the Electoral College first. I want to jump into that first because I've been wanting to do a video about the Electoral College for a little bit. And our sister, LovelyDarkeness, been posing some questions about it. I was like, yeah, I want to do something about it and span out on it. And, been wanting to get to a video about it. So here we go today. I'm just in the chat right now. I'm going to post a quick link to my Teespring. Check me out. Like and subscribe. There we go. So anybody, if you're a mod, you come into the chat, feel free to snatch that link and throw it around at your leisure. I ain't mad at you. There we go. So we in the house. So the first thing I want to address, we're going to talk about the Electoral College first, since that's fresh on my mind. Let's get to it. And want to talk about the world around us, talking about getting rid of the Electoral College and what it's really about. So I want to frame it in terms of what it means to ADOS. And y'all are going to come to the conclusion, hopefully, that our reparations argument, it just has stake in so many events in this society here, even an event like the creation of the Electoral College. This is what I want y'all to see out of this, right? So the Electoral College, for those that don't know, my channel is the people who really don't even fuck with the voting process unless some look real about it. So I get that. So I'm going to bring this up to you. The Electoral College is just a process by which the president is elected in America. All right. It's not the popular vote. It's not how many votes, your one man, one vote. That shit ain't how it go. We're not in that kind of democracy. We're in a democratic republic, right, where it's a representative government, where you hire representatives, basically. And the way those representatives are hired, or the way they're designated by state, is by the Electoral College. Okay. You got 438 Electoral College votes across the whole country. If you're going to be president or you want to be president, you have to have 270 of those Electoral College votes, is the way that people will explain. They'll explain the Electoral College in terms of population, because each state has a certain number of Electoral College votes based on its population. And that's how they have it set up. Well, that's how it was originally devised to be set up. And also the Electoral College, for those that want to know, they also say and claim that, hey, the Electoral College is also made because it wanted to, well, the founders wanted to prevent factions from taking over the presidential office. Like, let's say like all the farmers got together. What up, Nisha? Let's say all the farmers got together and said, okay, we all want to vote this way. All the farmers across the United States, right? That would have a disproportionate sway on the election for president, right? Let's say all of the fucking grass cutters got together. All their unions got together. across the whole country and decided to vote one way, right? So they wanted to prevent factionalism in the election process. That's part of the reason. Also, as they say in their thought lineage as to why the Electoral College was created. And to another degree, it's like, taxation and things like that. But I'm going to propose to my ADOS people that it was really about, well, if the South don't get to include their slaves in the population count for the electorate sway, because again, population determines your number of electorates, we're not going to sign this damn Constitution. Okay? That's what happened. That's what really happened. So understand that the Constitution wouldn't have even been ratified by the South unless this issue of, can we count our niggers in the voting process, was addressed. Okay? And one thing that people gloss over who say the Electoral College is a good or bad idea, because that's what we're talking about, whether it's a good or bad idea, and how they're, Elizabeth Warren, I think she was the one that was talking about getting rid of the Electoral College. None of them ever speak about Black people when they talk about the origins of the Electoral College and, how it even got propped up into place. None of them even talk about it. None of them even talk about the 3/5 compromise. That was a clause in the 12th Amendment. Zaire, yeah, 3/5, right. But I'll get into that. You say 1/3, but I want to get into that as well. But that was the clause in the 12th Amendment put in 1787 that stated anybody that was a person could contribute to the electing process of a president. If you were free, if you were like a person under a servitude for a particular amount of time, so that could mean like an indentured servant. So we were not under any particular time. We were indefinite servitude in this regime that we live in, right? This white supremacist regime. And also they left room for like taxed Indians to vote. So I guess there was some taxation scheme under which Indians could vote, right? Everybody else was 3/5 of a person. Okay. And that implied Black people. They didn't even say Black people. They just said everybody else is 3/5 of a person. And no one ever really speaks about why us being 3/5 of a person came up. It came up because of the Electoral College. Okay, so that's my point. And it was clear in many of the personal like manuscripts of the people who framed the Constitution, like James Madison. It was clear in his writings that Black folk was who that was meant to address, right? Because he specifically outlined the Negroes as the target of his verbiage around the ratification of the Constitution. He owned slaves in Virginia, James Madison. And he was already, hearing the groans and moans of white people around him all day talking about, what we going to do about our slaves? And they came to several compromises. They had a 1/4 compromise. They had a 3/4 and some other ones. So, 1/3, as you say, Zaire, that might have been one of them. They had a bunch of them. And they eventually settled on the 3/5 compromise, meaning out of every 5 Black people who were slaves, 3 were counted in the electoral vote. Okay, that's how it is framed, right? And like I said, in the actual amendment, it didn't even say Black people or that slaves were 3/5 of a person. White supremacy was just so on code. That's a testament to them being on code that it was just generally assumed that that was how the fuck the shit was going to go. And the amendment was carried out as if it meant that. And that's the power of a group being on code. I want y'all to pay attention to that shit too. Like, shit don't even got to be written. And motherfuckers can just wink and kind of nudge each other and then be on point with the same idea for hundreds of years, right? That part of the Constitution didn't get, formally as they say, pushed out of the way until the 13th Amendment. That's, it's about 80 years later, almost 100 years later, that 3/5 clause was chugging along without no specific verbiage. See, they own code for 100 years playing with us, right? This is how they do us. So when we talk about what ADOS is owed, y'all, and how far the reach goes, think even upon the Constitution, and also think of the power that slave ownership had in government and in making policy and in making principles that lasted for hundreds of years, shit that lasted on the books. All right. Plantations, I'm sure y'all have come across this narrative and have, went through y'all's share of slave diaries and things like that. But almost any documentation of a slave on a plantation, anybody that was around to be able to describe a plantation, all of them say the same thing. Plantations was like cities. They're like full whole cities where laws got made within and around the cities, right? And the pull your city had was based on your population, slave population in this case, of the electoral voting process, okay? This is at the highest level of lawmaking in the land, the president. We're talking about the Electoral College, right? So look at the residual of that. You understand? So all the white people sitting up talking, anybody that's white-skinned or white immigrants or whoever coming up talking to you saying my family was poor, we were immigrants, any of that shit, and they didn't participate in the slave trade and all that. I kill that on my channel. We kill that shit all day. You motherfuckers were still made institutionally to be treated better. And the laws that benefited the people who had slaves benefited you. See that these white supremacist slave owners, these people got to affecting laws and instantiating laws at an executive level of government and otherwise that for sure benefited white people. They were making these laws to make their plantations run. It's like the equivalent of like corporations pushing bills through to make their corporations, withstand the rigors of the business world and, all the low tax and shit they get. It's like the same thing that is in play with corporations today is the same thing that was in place with plantations back in the day. All right, making laws to benefit them and definitely to benefit whiteness. So that shit had reverberations for generations of white people. You see, the more slaves you had, the more political sway you held, period. And as long as you could motherfucking high five whiteness on the side, you were winning out of our disenfranchisement. And your family, it didn't mean shit. Your family probably wasn't doing shit to stop it, white people. You weren't stopping the plantation people from putting their votes in and casting votes to make black people using black bodies as currency in the election process. You wasn't stopping that process. You wasn't, y'all was letting it ride. So we got all kind of outlay that shows that y'all play ball, right? And then at the end of that, we have this wealth gap that got put in that began to just grow and grow and grow because of all of that. So we're talking about an executive level stepping on black people back, using black backs as a ladder, you understand? To instantiate policy at the highest level of government. You understand? Right, Zaire, they all for it. You understand? That's my point. So all the immigrant whites, the poor white, all that, look, at least y'all weren't getting treated like 3/5 of a person when it was time to vote, and then 0/5 of a person when it wasn't time to vote the rest of the time, right? So all those groups, they benefited tacitly. And when Jim Crow hit, the Homestead Act hit, whiteness was raking up. Okay? It was whiteness, not just the white supremacists who came from a lineage of slaveholders. And I don't let white-skinned people try to edge that angle out of the conversation. And it's something that, so looking at the Electoral College, I just want to say, we as the ADOS, we could take it or leave it. You think about the way electoral votes are handed out. The biggest states still have the highest number of electoral votes. So it's basically like it ain't do shit in that regard. California still got a high number of electoral votes. The little teeny weeny states that don't got high populations still got teeny weeny little motherfucking motherfucking electoral votes, right? It really ain't hidden on shit when you think about it. So I could take it or leave it. The electoral college, they can do what they want to do with it. We still got to have a black agenda in local, state, and federal politics, regardless of whether they had that shit or not. It's my point. So let me get on to HR 40, Sheila Jackson Lee. Well, I'm going to put, like I said, I'm going to put this in the thumbnail for the video. I put up a tweet when I had my Twitter. I've been off Twitter for a week because just motherfuckers just don't like to hear the real. They'll find some way to block you and get you suspended. I get it. You know, you just don't engage in conversations with some people because it's usually a setup. They're trying to bait you to get you kicked off. So you got to go through them. I mean, that's what I got caught up in. Even though I didn't have a fucked up conversation with nobody, I've been having good conversations on Twitter since November, since I got back on. They still try to play your boy out. But I'm going to keep on rising. Fuck their life and fuck their death too. I mean, but I put up a tweet in response to the boy Jason Black. Shout out to Jason Black, the Black Channel. Follow him at the Black Channel on Twitter. And, you know, shit, a few weeks ago, we were just going in on HR 40. Before he did his post on HR 40, that, you know, I think that was a great post. I haven't watched all of it. I, you know, peeped in on it. But from what I gathered, you know, he's touching on the points that, you know, y'all would expect new black media to jump on. Real. But me and him was just, you know, we've been doing the alley-oop shit on Twitter when it comes to that shit. You know, I'll get on this timeline and I'll see somebody trying to go at her. I'll take the alley-oop and slam them and let that be that, you know. But on one of my alley-oops, I just put in a response to some debate we had going on with some nobody. And I was just like, look, man, I called bullshit on it early on, HR 40, and I'll explain, you know, what it is and what we need to be thinking about it. But I call bullshit on it early on. I've been saying this bullshit. We already have black think tanks around reparations, and none of them produced. So NAARC and NCOBRA, to name a couple. HR 40 is pageantry if it doesn't reach out to new black media. That's us. If it don't reach out to us, who have the data, as well as the consensus and the esteem of ADOS people, hashtag ADOS people, period. So I don't give a fuck. I don't care where anybody talking about reparations, motherfucker, if you ain't reaching out to the community, to the people that's on the ground doing the work, and that people are in some level hold a esteem for these people, you ain't hitting on shit. You ain't covering no ground with the reparations conversation. It's not going to get no traction unless you fuck with motherfuckers in new black media, motherfuckers that people really care to listen to. The motherfucking creator and the co-creator of it, Tone, Yvette, Sandy Darity. If you ain't talking to them, motherfucker, you fucking up early. There's other people you could then put into that. Like I include Professor Black Truth, I include Jason Black, I include Tariq. Shit, I don't include myself. It's like, man, fuck it, man. Let them hold it. You know what I mean? But if y'all want me in there, I'll jump in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no joke neither. But I'm saying, like, yeah, somebody in a group of people that people trust, right? Is what I'm saying. But HR 40, it's a House bill that they're trying to push through the House and Senate and on through to the president to make it into a law. It's a law begging to have a commission to study if black people should get reparations, if ADOS, descendants of slaves, should get reparations. That's it. It's a commission to study, to read and to write. And some other shit about how the U.S. government is supposed to offer an apology type shit. We already got an apology from Bill Clinton, but that ain't shit. I don't want to hear what you think. I don't want to hear you're sorry. Fuck you're sorry. Motherfucker, wear my bag, bitch. This is what I be thinking. This is how my mind click. But think about that. What kind of servile ass mentality is that? Sheila Jackson Lee, she out here in Texas, one of the representatives for Texas, to be a black person constructing something like that, to be a black woman constructing something like that. That shows what kind of slave mentality we still got lingering around a lot of our elders. You know, to be in the 21st century and our elders still walking around thinking that they moving the needle on reparatives by asking and pleading to the government to study. That was shit we did during slavery. God damn it. We had to ask to read and to study. And we had to propose to someone to study. Like, what? I mean, and the fact that we've been studying this, right? That's what puts me on a front and on edge about the whole thing. Like, we've been studying this, right? This ain't nothing new. Sheila Jackson is acting like we haven't had countless committees to study reparations. Now, that's some out of touch ass shit. We're talking about at non-Congress levels. She's acting like this is some shit we ain't been doing. So she's a bullshitter in that regard. The only thing is that the motherfuckers that have been doing all the studying, they ain't been covering no ground. That's what's been happening. Because they all been fucking up and settling for getting some donations at the end of the day, like NARC, Mark Thompson, his punk ass organization NARC. You know what I mean? They just want donations and then they shut the fuck up. All right? They all get cold feet when it's time to do strictly ADOS focused work. We see a lot of these reparations committees and organizations, they try to run the Pan-Africanism angle and spread themselves thin. I ain't trying to hear that. That's a fuck up, right? Like, none of them are exclusionary enough to narrow the window down to just ADOS like it should be. That's NCORA, that's NARC, that's motherfucking, what's this other organization? The Uhuru organization, or Uhuru, them motherfuckers, they all lose track of the specificity behind reparations for us. It's needed specificity, right? None of them are playing it how it needs to be played. It needs to have American boundaries. The whole conversation of reparations, it needs to be all about us, or else, you know, trying to get America to deal with it and approach dealing with the money amount behind it is retarded. It's futile. You know what I'm saying? That's why we say ADOS. It's for the purpose of creating a delineation of our tangibles, separate from everybody motherfucking else. So after the creators of ADOS said, let's not focus on all these other groups, here are some of the numbers that we're up against as to why we need it. And we did all this footwork. Middle black family, $1,700. People like the boy Rizza Islam dropping a number of 52 trillion. You know what I mean? Some other entities dropping numbers 31 trillion. All these are numbers I like. I like all these numbers. Brothers like, you know, Jason Black, cut the check. You know what I mean? Cut the check. He kept saying that shit. The shit had me rolling. And all of that shit that we doing, all these facts and figures we dropping, you got Sheila Jackson Lee pulling up the rear, talking about, please, can we study? Please acknowledge that we need to study this, and acknowledge it on a stage, white mommy and daddy. like a bill that doesn't land on any of the hard numbers. You see? So HR 40, that's some bullshit. She's working on a piece of legislation to set the reparations conversation back, in my opinion, on the biggest legislative stage in the nation. That's why this shit is dangerous. Who was this? Oh, they did it. Yeah, they didn't need no study from all other reparations. Real life. Didn't need no study for nobody else. For the Japanese. Didn't need no study for a list of people. Real talk. So it's that element. That's why I'm saying that she's dangerous, right? She's putting out this hemming and hawing ass legislation. You know, when Marianne Williamson came to Tone Talks to talk about her little proposal for reparations, she dropping her little $100 billion, and she acknowledged that was a low amount or whatever. But she dropped something real. She spoke about politicians co-opting disruptive language. I want y'all to remember that term. Co-opting disruptive language. It's a real thing. It's something that they do in order to not do something. Saying shit like, oh, this will be a path to something, or we're interested in looking at a path to get reparations, right? Sheila Jackson Lee is a prime example of what the white lady, Marianne Williamson, was talking about. So I want y'all to keep that term in your head. So when you start hearing them kind of flounder, these different faces they put in front of us, listen for any sort of co-opting disruptive language. And that's what she's been on. She's had a career of hemming and hawing. All of the HR 40 behavior, it's co-opting disruptive language, and that's why New Black Media is here. We got to counter the disruptions to our flow. We have the traction behind ADOS. We've been putting the traction behind this shit. You understand? We got the studies. We got the figureheads. We got Sandy Darity, Antonio Moore, Yvette Carnell, and we brought a wealth of data that we need to be swinging over people's heads to avenge our ancestors and straighten shit the fuck up. And Sheila Jackson Lee, she playing. People like her, they playing, okay? That whole committee is on some bullshit. And I want to bring this up too. You know, Sheila Jackson Lee, she knows how to ask for money, y'all, and get bills passed commanding that money be given. I went through her history with her various HRs, not just HR 40. She got a few bills that were able to be made into law. We're talking about HR 3298. Look that up. It's called the Wounded Officers Recovery Act. This was in 2017. That shit got passed in 15 days. And basically, it authorized the Capitol Police Board, it's like U.S. Capitol Police, to make payments out of a memorial fund for police, Capitol Police who were killed in the line of duty, and their families and all of that shit. Or if they even sustain any kind of serious injuries type shit on duty or whatever. And basically, the board is set up to take earmarked government funds to make these payments. And they also, check this out, they put regulations in place to make sure that the money that is being given to these people is in addition to whatever the fuck else they're getting. So it's not meant to usurp anything else they might also be getting, like scholarships, workers' comp, any kind of family benefits they might be getting paid, that type of shit, right? Because they keep talking about, and this was the point that Jason Black brought up, about the recommendations for compensation for the enslaved Africans is going to be calculated. And Jason was just pointing out, you know, they calculating it, but that could be anything. They could be talking about food stamps, welfare, shit like that, and how this committee needs to figure out what form that it needs to be administered in. These reparatives, is the term I use, needs to be administered, which means it ain't money, right? And who should be eligible, all that shit. Oh, that's easy. Who should be eligible? We just, if they not first, second, third generation, if they don't hold claim any of them titles, they ADOS. They in the mix already. All right. That's something easy. And also, if it ain't cut the check, right? Got me rolling about that shit, right? But look how they are able to get money. She's able to help them get laws passed. And there's no question that it's singled out money specifically for a particular injury. And it ain't muddied up with no other kind of water. You understand? See that. And while we also talking about HR 40 Sheila Jackson, she also passed another HR 1242 called the 400 Years of African American History Commission Act. Passed also 2017. I want y'all to look at this shit too, because we're talking about HR 40, a bill that's supposed to be about studying and all this bullshit. I think she's doubling over on this motherfucking bill. She's doubling over with 1242 with HR 40. Okay. Just reading through the bill. It has plans, programs to acknowledge the impact that slavery and laws that enforce racial discrimination had on the United States. Bitch, what the fuck? That's the same shit y'all talking about. Acknowledging the impact. Yeah, okay. Coordinating for the public scholarly research on the arrival of Africans in the United States and their contributions to the country. Motherfucker sounds like you're studying some bullshit. Encourage civic, patriotic, historical, and educational, and artistic, religious, and economic, social. All this is, and participating in anniversary activities. All this shit sounds like commemorative bullshit, but it ain't nothing to do with a check being cut. That's why they let this shit pass. Anything we're talking about, oh, just say that we did do slavery. Let's say that we did have slavery, and that's a good enough bill to pass. Oh, let's just make a bill saying that America did see contributions come from the hands of black people here who were enslaved. Just make a bill saying that, and that's good. That's a good bill. Little Negro, they patting her on the head for this shit. She ain't covering no ground, but they talk about studying and acknowledging and all this shit and coordinating for the public scholarly research. I'm saying, I ain't like, So she talking about studying, huh? Talking about talking and studying. Well, damn, what did this committee find out? And what's wrong with their findings? Why don't we just use what they found and say, okay, look, that'll suffice for HR 40. And just put this whole studying thing to bed for real and get our grab bag circulating. This is what I'm saying. So Sheila Jackson Lee is a bullshitter, y'all. She's bullshitting her. And the BS is in play with her. She's bullshitting us. And if you read the bill, this HR 40 shit, y'all will notice she uses this flip verbiage of African slaves and their descendants and African this, and you know that don't cut the mustard. Come to my channel, we ain't talking about Africans. We ain't talking about Ghanaians, Nigerians. We ain't talking about nobody over there. We ain't talking about Caribbeans. We ain't talking about nobody. Unless they right here. And unless they are ADOS, period, we ain't talking about nobody else, right? I'm already in suspicion when they start writing documents, throwing in African in there, all right? Some of us were already here. We didn't even talk about that. Who got taken captive. We talk about the Malian Moors and the Nanda courts and how all their Moorish claims meant jack shit when white supremacist society ran up on them and took them into slavery, right? So we're talking about people that are here because, you know, Africans and other non-diaspora blacks, they got claims of reparations with the countries that they at and countries where they from and where they got, you know. So they got their claims with certain people. So I want y'all to have it on y'all mind that when people try to truncate our conversation to a whole continent of Africa and lose all the specificity, this all-in kind of jambalaya shit, all these claimants that they want to try to put forth, see that as intentionally them muddying the motherfucking water. That's what I'm seeing Sheila Jackson Lee is doing. We can't give credence to what she's formulating. You know what I'm saying? Not even for a little bit. I don't, she's doing that type of shit because she doesn't intend to do anything tangible for black society if this is to get passed. You understand? Oh, S. Jackson Lee spends more time on her wardrobe and coiffed hairdos, koofied hairdos. I don't know what that means. Then on ADOS, she is not ADOS and is not an ally. I think we need to hope that these Sambo civil rights coons die off soon. She's a braided witch and a Texas-sized coon. Yes, y'all going in. Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty nasty. Black first, always and forever. Do you know of her being non-ADOS? I wasn't aware of that. I didn't look into her background, but I mean, I looked into her background, but I mean, that part, That part, really? Is she non-ADOS? Do you know that to be a fact? Black first, always, and forever. Do you know that to be a fact that she's not ADOS? Really? Let me know. I'll watch for your response in the comment. But yeah, you know. And hey, man, I kick Pan-African motherfuckers in the ass all the time. She's kicking that. Oh, her parents from Jamaica? There we go. You see? You see? Okay. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So when we're talking about how they got over here via the path of tank sucking and ass kissing. Here you go. She's showing and proving what we be talking about, what we be circulating on, what we be vibing on, what we be soaking on for real. We already see it, right? It be that. You understand? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. You know, I'll be on Twitter getting at the Pan-African population. I do that for a reason. I do that for a reason. So I wouldn't see why. I wouldn't be surprised to see her kicking at African this and African this. She's peppered the African identity very vaguely, but she's thrown it in there. She made sure to say African and then the descendants of the slaves that, all right, bitch. We've seen that. She's willing to do that. And man, goddamn, non-ADOS, the blatant agenda is really showing. Like I said, I'd be kicking Pan-Africanness in the ass on Twitter when I was on Twitter. I took a week off. I ain't mad. I'm stretched and I'm feeling good. I might get back on next week. I might start another account next week. I'll let y'all know this week if I decide to do it. I'll probably do it just for the fuck of the recreation of the shit till they kick me off again. Fuck it. I'm a G. It don't matter to me. But, you know, shit, I'd be on Twitter when I was on Twitter, getting that motherfuckers. That motherfucker Isaiah Washington. Y'all know him? The actor motherfucker. He's always trying to bat down ADOS under the guise of it should include the whole of Africa and the Caribbean type shit. And people stay lighting his ass up. ADOS come through. We come through lighting his ass up. Because ADOS ain't about them. It ain't about them. Because he's non-ADOS, I guess to my point, because he's non-ADOS, he feels some kind of way. Or should I say he's one of the non-ADOS who feel this kind of way. And he's one of the non-ADOS who feel like they should be included in the topic. And we're saying, nope. Fight your own battles on this one, my non-ADOS brothers and sisters. Love y'all to life. But go to your own country and create your own version of ADOS is what I tell y'all to do. And ride under that vehicle. Don't try to coattail us. Don't try to muddy up our shit. Let me see. I put up a tweet to this guy and dug into him. What was I saying to this cat? Oh, can I pull it up? I was, you know, we were going in on him and just, you know, like, man, he's just talking a bunch of just drivel about how Pan-Africanism needs to be a part of ADOS. And I'm like, nah, we've been doing that. We've been including African people in all of our discussions. And what has it left us? After 50 years of Africans being able to just ease their way into Black society, what has it led to? It led to Africans being now coming over here with a predetermined idea to get step-ups over us and to cash in on all these set-asides that are African continent specific, while we, who fought for them to even be here and fought for everybody to be here, that ain't even us, there's not, we're talking about Blacks, Latinos, Indians, white people, Asians, we fought for everybody to be here. We gave everybody a place to be. We made it the shit to be over here. Nobody else made the shit to be over here but us, right? After all these years, we're seeing now that the types of Africans, I'm just talking about the continent, but we could break down the countries and all that, but I'm just speaking in generalities, y'all. As far as the vetted diaspora coons that come over here and that have been coming over here for the past 50 years, years, and I'm probably damn near 60 years, what we're seeing is that they come over here with an idea to step up over us and to be valued by white people over us, so they can get pats on the head and all kind of little Scooby snacks while finger wagging us the whole ride. I ain't having it. I'm not having it. We ain't having it. So y'all got to think something else to do. You Isaiah Washington motherfuckers out there. And he's one of these guys. He's on this, he's got this walk away campaign. Black people need to walk away from the Democratic plantation and all of that shit. So he's on that whole shit, and people be riding him because like, oh, you're a Trump supporter and all this shit. But, you know, Trump was a motherfucker that came out and just blew his top and was like, man, fuck it, man. Look, I would just pay these people reparations, and so they'll just quit whining about it. You know what I'm saying? That was just last year, April of last year. This time last year, Trump was kicking that. So I'm looking at Trump like, all right, now that's another lane that we can point a finger at when it comes time for us to make our arguments. So we ain't playing not a little bit. So yeah. But yeah, Isaiah Washington, yeah, he on that Pan-African bullshit shit. Bumper sticker Pan-African fuckery. Yeah, real life. So peep that out. Also, you know, in this HR 40, I don't want to forget, you know, there's talk in it about recommending the appropriate ways to educate the American public on what the findings of the committee are. And it's like, again, damn. Again, damn, Sheila Jackson Lee, we're doing that anyway. All right. Come the new black media, motherfucker. It's Sheila Jackson who's the one that's out of the loop with new black media, which is obvious. And so the education, she's acting like the education is not even there. Well, what happened to your other bill? Your 37 such and so bill. No, the 1242 bill. What happened to that bill? Didn't y'all get enough education out of that? Wasn't the public educated enough out of that? Sheila Jackson Lee, you dummy. You see, they're going to try to play the sleep. I want y'all to notice this. They're going to try to play the sleep old Negroes who have political positions. They're going to try to play these motherfuckers against the vibrant, younger, non-boomer population of ADOS. Y'all see that shit? They're going to do that. But they up against so much. We got the numbers and we got the facts and the figures, and these older, you know, about to die black people, you know, they're getting up in age, as I say. Our elder statesmen in the black community and around the black community, they've acculturated themselves to ignoring and dismissing the young population with the shit that we be talking anyway. So when it comes to something like this, you know, the ones that are like in Congress and shit like that, they got a seat in that motherfucker based off of dismissing the voice of black community by and large, right? And they spend their days being around a bunch of white supremacists in government every day and just trying to ingratiate themselves to them and trying to go along and get along with them every day after day and going to a political job with them every day, right? So there's a disconnect, and their whole life has been spent trying not to rock a boat where they at, right? You know what I mean? And they trying to hold on to these boomer type jobs, right? Shit that we ain't even been, you know, we've been systematically locked out of what the boomers are dealing with. That's why we got the biggest wealth gap in the history of the nation. That's why we're dealing with that shit, right? That's why we're dealing with a different level of instability that they aren't dealing with. The biggest wealth gap in the history of this nation. It's been taking its toll on us harder than the elders. That's my point. So they talking about appropriate ways to educate the American public on reparations. Well, start the conversation at the racialized wealth gap. You old black people, all of y'all, start the conversation at the racialized wealth gap. Then everything else falls in place. It's a simple conversation to have with the American public. You understand? Is the racialized wealth gap. Fuck all that, recommending appropriate ways. Fuck all that. You understand? Just start at the wealth gap. If you want to know how to start the conversation, Sheila Jackson Lee and all you elder boomer black people that been out of touch and been out of connection with what the fuck really going on. Y'all just trying to kiss ass your life. And you know, all right. It's more like old shit, get out the way. Get out the way, old lady. You know, we coming through. You know what I mean? We coming through, we blowing smoke in your face type shit. You might want to get out the way, old lady. Oopsie, oops upside your head. They sold us out. Gen X months, we not having it. Yeah, real life. I spill blood in Selma, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? These old I spill blood in Selma motherfuckers, man. How that's going to stand? You know what I mean? How that's going to mean shit to us, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering that, right? What? Yo, also, I thought was so crazy about the bill. It was like, you know, it said the committee is going to enter into contracts with departments and agencies and institutions and instrumentalists of the federal government, private firms and agencies to conduct the research and to prepare these reports and all this shit in order to, and any other activities to carry out the duties of this commission that they're talking about, right? So what are the duties of the commission? We've already determined that the duties of the commission is a bunch of fluffery, a bunch of nothing, right? They're clearly defined. The duties is a study group, goddammit. And the ADOS, hashtag ADOS, we don't represent a fucking study group, goddammit. The HR 40 committee is a body of 13 people. It's like they put that like in the first couple sections of the bill. I want y'all to check this out. 3 people are appointed by the president. That's Donald Trump. He gonna determine 3 people on this committee of 13 people. So that's 3 people wiped out. That's Trump. So they're, you know, he's probably, I'm not gonna say that because Trump might keep it real. He might be like, yeah, I've been trying to get this shit for real, but y'all, what? Y'all talking about some shit? Studying? Oh, fuck. All right, well, I'll go on and send my 3 over there, but I'm just trying to pay these motherfuckers so they can stop talking to me about shit. What the fuck? You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at it, but okay. But 3 is going to be appointed by the president, probably white. 3 members appointed by the Speaker of the House, that's Nancy Pelosi. 1 member is going to be appointed by the President pro tempore of the Senate, that's Charles Grassley. He's a white dude. And 6 members shall be elected from the major civil society reparations organizations. So if y'all peep the numbers, it's going to be 1 more extra individual that's going to be selected by a bunch of white people, all right? By a bunch of white people. And then 7 members that are coming from white people selection. And then 6 people are coming from black people. So you see how they're weighing it out. They're even weighing it out on some coon shit. It's just a fucking shame that a black person would construct some bullshit like this, right? Where we're talking about an issue regarding reparations for black people being disenfranchised and taken out of equity and taken out of the equity market for hundreds of years. And they want to give all the majority say of how the topic should even be discussed into the hands of white people. And this is a study group, right? Like I say, fuck HR 40, right? She's on some bullshit, this Sheila Jackson Lee. But look at the outlay of it. It's white, and then some cool motherfuckers. The people that they pick for this, you know, the major civil society and reparations, I'm thinking they're going to pick somebody like motherfucking, they'll tell who they'll pick. They'll probably pick Tommy Sotomayor, motherfucking Brian Solange on this committee, man. Some cool motherfuckers, man. They'll pick Mark Thompson on that bitch. They'll pick somebody, man. They're gonna pick black people that are coons and white people that aren't from the conversation of ADOS, that will never intersect the ADOS community. And another tweet I put up, let me pull up a couple of tweets, man. Another tweet I put up, man, and I guess I kind of talked about it, the only way I would trust a committee of people talking about reparations is if it got people that we already like about it. Because we already know with them, they not going to be, you know, we talking about Sandy Darity, we talking about Tone, we talking about, you know what I mean, the people I listed, they not going to be talking about bullshit. They're not going to be talking. They're going to be mobilizing on the numbers we've been crunching. You understand? And out to get the various hands in play to cut the motherfucking check, to bring the bag through. Sheila Lee ain't crunched not one number. Herman Cain and Ben Carson, hell yeah, them motherfuckers. Hey, I will say this. While we're talking about Ben Carson, you know, he was the motherfucker that was sitting up talking about slavery was what he says that black people were immigrants and all this shit. Black people are immigrants and whatnot. Are we immigrants, homie? Really? Well, now we got a conversation of, we even got a coon motherfucker like Sheila Jackson Lee talking about reparations for our immigrant asses, right? So think about that. For our immigrant asses, they still talking about, oh, well, reparations still need to be talked about. Okay, so that shuts his argument down forever and a day. So we've already wiped Ben Carson off the Monopoly board, y'all. Be proud of that. Just by us continuing to push this issue, understand that? We pushed motherfucker like him and everything he got to say off the board. And all the history books they've made out here in Texas. Y'all know Texas is where they make all the history books talking about slavery was a volunteer process and all this goofy ass shit. All those books got to be burned now. You understand? This kind of work ADOS been doing. We done put this much heat on the community, on the world, to where they got to burn them books now. Them books don't mean shit now. What we talking about is at the front of the line. And everything else is some old him and Horn made up bullshit shit. You understand? So think about that shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, man, Sheila Jackson Lee, she ain't crunched one number. She ain't motherfucking made one pie chart, made one bar graph with numbers talking about let's begin to study and let's begin to have a community. That's the same old pageantry of the NAACP type niggas that she got going on. The same pageantry of the fucking Black Greek letter organizations. The same shit they got going on. The same Boule type pageantry. Jack and Jill ass pageantry, right? What do they do about black issues? They put on suits and dresses and talk about whatever, but they don't cover no ground for the community. And in the bill, I go to the bill, like at the bottom of the bill, it says how the commission is going to get paid for like travel and reimbursement, traveling and hopping on planes to do pageantry type shit, y'all. Just look at that shit, all right? It seems like it's all to ingratiate this HR 40 shit. To me, it seems like it's all to ingratiate the sense of pageantry of these motherfuckers and the do-nothingness when brass tack issues are put on their plate in front of them. You understand? Like reparations for ADOS. That's where they're comfortable at, is at the pageant. A lot of these black figureheads and organizations, you know what I mean, they all read out the same playbook. And I want us to understand that. They not about being on a different paradigm, being on a different wavelength, because they came up from not wanting to make no waves anyway. They came up thinking that what they were doing was working. Going to church, keeping your head down, not making no waves, don't want nothing more for yourself. Well, that's why we got a big ass wealth gap in place for your exact weak ass mentality. That's why y'all fucked up. For all my boomers out there, y'all fucked up. And we got a coon in office like that. Somebody like a Sheila Jackson Lee, she's only gonna exasperate shit like a wealth gap. She's not trying to address it. Y'all see she's running from it, right? Okay. That's what it is. She represents a generation of people, and I'll close it on this, you know, people that's just, you know, wanting to observe the black community from a safe ass place. I've heard a lot of boomers, a lot of older black people come up to me and be like, man, we really just scared of y'all. I've heard people say that shit, like, what you mean? You scared of me? Cool. Be scared. Get the fuck away from me then. You scared, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, that's you. But they want to be voyeuristic of the black experience from their little safe places and little whatever little job they got. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to get no dirt on them. They don't want to do no dirt with the niggas. And that's what a lot of the antiquated practitioners in black society, in black politics, and in black organizing have failed to. And we tired of their sorry asses. So Sheila Jackson, sit down, ma. Sit down, baby girl. You done enough, which is jack shit. I mean, you've done jack shit. So sit the fuck down and we'll take it from there. You do know the first government shutdown under Trump was called by Democrats. When the fuck did them shut down the government for the benefit of blacks? Okay. Well, are you saying that Trump shut down the government for the benefit of blacks? Black first, always and forever? Because that could be debatable. If you're speaking about the immigrant issue and them not getting the particular budgeting and all that shit agreed to and all that, is that what you're speaking about? Black first, always and forever? I'll wait. No, Dem shut down the governments over illegals. You might want to check that fact. The Democrats, that wasn't what I got in the media about that. I want to check that fact. Black first, always and forever. I was under the understanding that there was a budget that was being outlaid that Trump was in disagreement with. Correct me if I'm incorrect about that, but she got some grimace. It wasn't the border wall. It was about amnesty and expansion. Okay, see, I heard it was about the border wall. Okay. All right. We'll look into that. I'll chase that fact down. She got some grimace in her lineage, I'm told. Oh, y'all just going on the bitch. Damn, his wife a McRib. All right. We're talking about Ben Carson. Ben Carson's wife, DJ B Side 1965 say Ben Carson's wife is an immigrant from McDonald land. What the fuck, man? Y'all clowning. The cost of black first, always ever. The cost of housing, prosecuting, and deportations. Don't forget the kids get free public education at our expense. Government benefits in the name of their American-born children. This was a plan. True indeed. True indeed. And y'all just going in on other people. Truth be told, the illegals are eating. Okay, so black first, always and forever. You're in here on the illegal tip, I see. Truth be told, the illegals are eating every damn crumb of our reparations. If you don't get reparations now, in 20 years or so, the illegals and their brood will be so numerous and anti-ADOS. We've discussed where the illegals are going to be trying to position themselves, especially out here in Texas. We've touched on that. And, you know, I don't see them just as a stagnant illegal class. I see them as people who are going to be assimilated into what's happening out here in Texas. Definitely. You know, I made a prediction that they were going to have these flop houses, right? In my video that I did talking about Trump's fake ass closing of the government that's supposed to happen this week that he didn't do, or closing the border. I don't think he closed the border. He still didn't do it yet, like I said. And we talked about the potentiality of like flop houses popping up all along the border between America and Mexico, like California, Arizona, Mexico, Texas border. Because these immigrants, these motherfuckers, like I said, on my channel, we say that these people are a part of a chaperoned process to be in America, to be a part of a corporately requested workforce. Who that corporation is, or who those corporations are, you know, there's names. You can put names behind it. You can say Trump, he a corporation. You can say Walmart, they're a corporation. You can say Target, and you can say just various American corporations. I'm framing it like that on this channel. And a few days ago, we saw motherfuckers Border Patrol doing raids on homes along that border full of immigrants. They raided one house. It was like 60-something immigrants in a house. In a house just stacked up in that bitch, because there's this underground smuggling market of human smuggling, basically, that's rising up out of this shit. And what I think that was about Border Patrol saying, no, don't you take these motherfuckers that's supposed to be working for Walmart and taking them off the market and using them for your own. Nah. They belong to Walmart. These is Walmart's smuggled people, right? That was a few days ago, right? So they already busting up houses along the border. Busting up motherfuckers' little apartments and shit along the border behind this shit. You understand? I'm in D.C. and they're everywhere in the surrounding areas. The Dems want the Latino vote. Republicans want cheap nannies and gardeners. Both parties want to stick it to the blacks, and we getting fucked by both. Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, that is a element of it, is that we don't got a hand. We can help guide us as we traverse this. We got to be on our own politics with it. We got to be on our own mind state with it at all times, right? Real life. But yeah, so, you know, like I said, I hate to be Peastradamus on y'all, man, but goddamn, we already seeing the flop houses popping up, right? We're already seeing this shit. And they're only thing difference is they're intercepting the flop houses now. Now it's like, oh, hold up. Don't you take our employees, goddammit. I'm saying that shit is getting nasty. You know what I mean? So these people, they're, like I said, they only show one of the houses, but I'm sure they got plenty more. You know what I mean? So we'll be watching out here in Texas. We'll be watching black people in Texas. We've already got our antennas up about them displacing black people with immigrant workers, migrant workers. All right. They try to make it like these people are just people that is going to get turned around. Why aren't we seeing any footage of them being turned around and walking back en masse? Why don't we see that? Where's that exodus of them going back? We don't see that. Just simple shit. But yeah, had to check in. I was hoping Lovely Darkness was going to check in. I made this part of the video, about HR 40 and, well, the part about motherfucking the Electoral College for her. She's been asking for that for some weeks, and I've been wanting to frame it in a certain way around a certain slew of topics. And this just happened to be that day. I was like, let me get on this HR 40 shit, touch down with the HR 40 behavior, touch in with the ADOS facts so we can keep that shit moving in our minds as we walk around the world every day. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And yeah, and I think I put my Teespring in the motherfucking top of the chat. Yo, Niche, at the top of the chat, you see my Teespring? Yo, feel free to copy that link, Niche, and just drop that whenever you feel like dropping that, whenever you feel the vibe to do it. You know what I mean? It's all good. You know what I'm saying? All my mods. I don't know if I got any other mods. I think Niche is just the one that showed up today. But that's Niche, y'all. Niche be doing the mod work. So anybody on some bullfuck, she gonna cut your fucking head off. Brother, I think for us to get ours, it is going to require us doing some extraordinary things. Yep, yeah, we about that. You know what I'm saying? We do all that, black. Yep. But yeah, let me get it, y'all.